Good morning, happy Sunday. I'm not going to be on camera today because I'm reading through the description of Ecclesiastes in my study Bible. Don't mind my puppy. She's having a moment with her toy there. Okay, so statistics here, the vital statistics, the things that we want to pull away from the reading. Purpose: to spare future generations the bitterness of learning through their own experience that life is meaningless apart from God. We're learning about Solomon right now in a Bible study about Ecclesiastes. I believe it's by Courtney Joseph. So let's learn from Solomon. And here in this book, the study Bible, the study guide, I should say, it's the NLT version. I always like at the beginning of each book, there's kind of a intro summary to each book. So Ecclesiastes, as we know, it's kind of, well, as it's written here, it describes it as a sermon, a life sermon from Solomon, who was the wisest man who ever lived. The chocolate bunny lies in the basket, surrounded by green paper grass. With Easter morning eyes wide with anticipation, the little boy carefully lifts the candy figure and bites into one of the long ears. But the sweet taste fades quickly, and the child looks again at the candy in his hand. It's hollow, empty, futile, hollow, nothing. The words have a ring of disappointment and disillusionment. Yet this is the life experience of many, grasping the sweet things. Possessions, experience, power, and pleasure. They find nothing inside. Life is empty, meaningless, and they sink into despair. Almost 3,000 years ago, Solomon spoke of this human dilemma, but the insights and applications of this message are relevant to our time. Ecclesiastes, Solomon's written sermon, is an analysis of life experiences and a critical essay about life's true meaning. In this profound book, Solomon takes us on a reflective journey through his life, explaining how everything he had tried, tested, or tasted had been meaningless, useless, irrational, pointless, foolish, and empty, an exercise in futility. And remember, these words are from one who had it all: tremendous intellect, power, and wealth. After this biographical tour, Solomon made his triumphant conclusion: fear God and obey his commands, for this is everyone's duty. God will judge us for everything we do, including every secret thing, whether good or bad. That is from Ecclesiastes 12, verses 13 and 14. When Solomon became king, he asked God for wisdom. That's 2 Chronicles 1, 7 through 12. And he became the wisest man in the world. 1 Kings 4, 29 through 34. Solomon studied, taught, judged, and wrote. Kings and leaders from other nations came to Jerusalem to learn from him. But with all his practical insight on life, Solomon failed to heed his own advice, and he began a downward spiral. Near the end of his life, Solomon looked back with an attitude of humility and repentance. He took stock of his life, hoping to spare his readers the bitterness of learning through personal experience that everything apart from God is empty, hollow, and meaningless. Although the tone of Ecclesiastes is negative and pessimistic, we must not conclude that the only chapter worth reading and applying is the last one, where he draws his conclusions. In reality, the entire book is filled with practical wisdom, how to accomplish things in the world and stay out of trouble. Spiritual wisdom, how to find and know eternal values. Solomon had a very honest approach. All of his remarks relating to the futility of life are there for a purpose: to lead us to seek fulfillment and happiness in God alone. He was not trying to destroy all hope, but to direct our hopes to the only one who can truly fulfill them and give our life meaning. Solomon affirms the value of knowledge, relationships, work, and pleasure, but only in their proper place. Everything temporal must be seen in light of the eternal. Read Ecclesiastes and learn about life. Hear the stern warnings and dire predictions, and commit yourself to remember your Creator now. That's Ecclesiastes verse 1. Again, this is from the Life Application Study Bible. I have the NLT version. This book is well loved. So I'm also going to pop over to read, I believe it's in Ecclesiastes 3, so sit tight. What I want to end with is a time for everything. It's Ecclesiastes 3, verses 1 through 8. For everything there is a season, a time for every activity under heaven, a time to be born and a time to die, a time to plant and a time to harvest, a time to kill and a time to heal, a time to tear down and a time to build up, a time to cry and a time to laugh, a time to grieve and a time to dance, a time to scatter stones and a time to gather stones, a time to embrace and a time to turn away, a time to search and a time to quit searching, a time to keep and a time to throw away, a time to tear and a time to mend, a time to be quiet and a time to speak, a time to love and a time to hate, a time for war and a time for peace. I'm going to keep reading 9 through, I think, 13. What do people really get for all of their hard work? I have seen the burden God has placed on us all, yet God has made everything beautiful for its own time. He has planted eternity in the human heart, but even so, people cannot see the whole scope of God's work from beginning to end. So I concluded there is nothing better than to be happy and enjoy ourselves as long as we can. And people should eat and drink and enjoy the fruits of their labor, for these are gifts from God. Okay, I'm going to keep reading 14 through 15, and then I think I'll be good for now. And I know that whatever God does is final. Nothing can be added to it or taken from it. God's purpose is that people should fear him. What is happening now has happened before, and what will happen in the future has happened before, because God makes the same things happen over and over again. I hope you're having a great Sunday, and if you're not, I would suggest heading into church. We'll talk soon.